The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbal.
Welcome to it. We transition over to Hail Varsity Radio, Hail Varsity Roadshow here at the Single Barrel, 9th and P. All sorts of big red here. There's a Nebraska fan beyond as we're here at the Single Barrel that's got his overalls on. And then he's got that giant foam cowboy hat like you saw in Dumb and Dumber. It's awesome. It's great. The bar is packed and the breakfast buffet is rolling as we get you ready for Nebraska and Iowa kickoff at 11. Elijah Herbal. Mark Kranak with us, as his title says, a traveling journalist. Most importantly, we have a Hall of Fame coach on the horn. We welcome in former coach at Colorado, Northwestern, Gary Barnett, with us on Black Friday to get things kicked off, Nebraska, Iowa. Coach, how was your Thanksgiving? Thanks for a few minutes today.
Yeah, it was always fun and hectic. I just want to make sure that everybody knows you were not describing me in the Husker overalls and the Dumb and Dumber hat. You're talking to somebody else, right?
I'm talking about a Nebraska fan that's here that's eating the incredible buffet here at the Single Barrel, Coach. No, you are not wearing Nebraska. You're not putting a tribute together for Herbie. That's clear. Although you've been in Lincoln your fair share of Black Fridays.
I have, and to me, they were the most exciting games of the year, either at Lincoln or in Boulder. It always had so much on the line. It seemed like one of the teams or both the teams are ranked. Everybody looked forward to it. There were only two games on. If you remember, Chris, that weekend it was Texas and Texas A&M and Nebraska, Colorado, and one year one team would have the early start, or one game would have the early start. The next game they'd rotate it. So it was. I just remember going out and recruiting, and every kid watched those two games because that was the only two games that were on at the time. Now that's back in the dark ages, but it was always just a great experience.
Well, going to be back on CBS in prime time for Nebraska today at 11, and this Big Ten TV setup really does a fantastic job of showcasing. Coach, the over-unders are historically low for this ball game. I think 24.5. It is bone-chillingly cold. It's 22 degrees here, and that's not anything new late November. But as you look at this matchup here, first and foremost, we talked a lot about Chubba Purdy last week. What do you think of Chubba's performance against Wisconsin? And, what type of advantage, if any, do you think Nebraska could have today?
Well, I just think that, Chubba seems to, just run the show. He's got a good sense of it all. He's not one-dimensional. But at least in the past game, he seems to have a step up on the other two guys. And, he was, I thought he was somewhat impressive in that game. This game is a different game, though. And, Chris, this game's going to come down to turning the ball over in this kind of weather. And like you said, the over-under is ridiculously low, but that's when you play Iowa, you're going to always have that. And I was interested that Nebraska was a point favorite or 2.5-point favorite in this game.
Yeah, Iowa started out that way, and now Nebraska's up to a 3-point favorite. And you have some injuries with Iowa. Of course, Cooper DeJean is out, and Iowa's always been a little bit problematic on offense. But it's really Nebraska's offense versus that Iowa D. And speak real quick to what Coach Parker does so well. And they just end up, especially with that front seven. I mean, Iowa's so good with their front seven. being able to threaten, run, and pass some of Chuba's skills, I think, could be a difference. But I agree with you. It is all about turnovers. And while Nebraska was good turnover-wise against Wisconsin, Coach Barnett, they've not been good the last 5 or 6 ball games turnover-wise. Can you just turn that off if you're Nebraska? It was a good start last week at least.
Well, it is a good start, and you can't just turn it off, especially when you're going to play against a team like Iowa. I mean, you have to be so secure with that ball, either in the air or when you're running the football. Yes, what that defense does, it is so well versed that everybody knows where everybody goes. Everybody knows their fit. Nobody screws up their fit. And as a result, there's always an unblocked defender or somebody that's really hard to block right where you want to take the football. And just when you've been there as long as Parker has, and these kids have grown into this system and they understand it, and just the communication and the understanding of how defenses are supposed to fit and where everybody's supposed to be, and then being able to depend on the guy around them to be there, that breeds great confidence. And that's what happens with Iowa. They come in every year knowing that their defense is so sound and so solid that everybody's going to have trouble with it, and they do.
Gary Barnett with us here, a Nebraska-Iowa pregame edition of Hail Varsity Radio. And Coach, whenever you think about a football game, usually you have to win 2 of the 3 phases in order to win a game. Nebraska's defense against Iowa's offense, I think, is advantage Nebraska. Iowa's defense against Nebraska's offense probably advantage Iowa. And then the special teams, I mean, Iowa is always so good in that aspect of it. So I think Nebraska's offense is going to have to get some points on the Iowa defense, as tough as that sounds. If you were the man on the headset today, if you were calling the game, how do you beat Iowa's defense? Do you get tricky? Do you get into the bag of tricks and try to confuse them that way, or do you keep it simple, stupid? What do you think the offensive game plan should be for Nebraska? Because they're going to have to get some first downs and some yards in this Iowa defense if they want to win the football.
Yeah, you know what? You've got to be really solid. You've got to be sound in the plays you call. You don't take chances. You don't take too many chances. You're going to take a couple chances here or there. But for the most part, you do it with sound football. That's how you beat Iowa. You don't beat them with gimmicks or gadgets, because they're so well versed in it, because that's how everybody tries to beat them. And I think the way you beat them is to be basic, to be simple, to complete the easy passes, to get on the perimeter with your throws a little bit, get away from the rush, find a way to run the draws and careful with the screens. But it's, this is one of those games where you don't go out and just throw everything, especially consider the weather. You haven't been a team that's been able to do that or has tried that. So don't get out of your personnel. You got to be you. You rely on the importance of this game. The fact that it's a bowl game, that it sets the tone for going into next year. Those are the things that should be really motivating in this game.
There is Hawkeye Husker pandemonium here, Coach, as a father and son are getting a picture taken, and one's wearing Iowa yellow, one's wearing Nebraska red. I think the loser has to buy a steak dinner tonight. That's the steak and a beer bet going on, but at least everyone's friendly right now. It's Gary Barnett with us here, pregame edition, Hail Varsity Radio. Coach, is it a success? Is it a successful season? We've been chewing on this a lot this week. I want your take. Nebraska's progress, I think a lot of us have seen it. That said, if they don't get to a bowl game, is it a successful season? What's your view?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to this game and how you play this game, Chris, because this team's going to play for the Big Ten championship. And so you go toe-to-toe with these guys, and you win by a point or a couple points, or you lose by a couple points. That's still a big step. You couldn't have done that a year ago. And, I think it's such a big tryout for Purdy, I think, going forward, because wouldn't you just love having a quarterback that's got confidence going into the offseason that you can count on, or you feel like you can count on at that point in time. And so, just going in, knowing who your quarterback going to be in the spring. That's a big deal. And so, I think successful season. I mean, it's been hard getting this last 6 games, and most of it because of turnovers. And that's an issue that, if you walk out of this game without turning that ball over, that's a big step.
Coach,
Gary Barnett is with us.
Handle the quarterback room moving forward. If you're Nebraska, you like what Chubba can do now that he's healthy, and you've seen flashes. You want to see more, but what's the balancing act going to the portal and trying to keep guys in that room if you're Matt Rule?
Well, it depends on which way you're going to go with it and what Matt's approach to it is going to be. And even though you've used the portal a little bit, you haven't been a wholesale portal team like some teams that I'm very close to do. But you still got a team. You've got 80 other guys that you have a responsibility to. And so it's your responsibility to get them the best fit and the best player. And I emphasize the best fit and the best player in that quarterback room. So whether it's recruiting, whether it's Chubba, whether it's one of the other 2 guys, or whether it's somebody off the portal, you have to look at everything. And they got to know that. I mean, Ted Boyle, the basketball coach at Colorado, has a great way of talking about the offseason. He says, my job is to go out and get better players than you guys. And you guys' responsibility is you'll be better players next year than you were this year. And if you buy into that, I think that's a great model and a great way to go about it.
Yes. Gary Barnett's with us here on Hail Varsity. Coach, we'll hit some rapid fire before we get you out. Thanks for making time this morning. It's always fun to chat and get your feel on the football day on Black Friday. So many good matchups, so many rundowns. Missouri, Arkansas, any danger for your Tigers at -9?
Well, I think there's always danger when it's a 9-point spread, but Missouri's playing really well right now, and they have so much on the line that I just don't think that they're going to lose this game. But I don't like the 9 points necessarily because, you're getting senior day, you're getting all that stuff, at Arkansas. So, and it started at 7.5 and went up to 9. So, but Missouri's a good, solid football team, and they like playing football and they like playing together. So they still win.
Oregon State, Oregon, -14 Ducks. That's down 2 points from a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I like Oregon in this game. I really do. And I like him by, Bo Nix can win the Heisman today or take a step towards it. And I think Oregon wins handily, even though Oregon State's a good football team and they'll try to slow the game down. But Oregon just swarms it.
Florida State, Florida. Noles are trying to lick their wounds at quarterback, -6.5 Noles.
I watched Florida last week against Missouri, and their backup quarterback did a great job. I think Florida could win this game, I think. I like the points in Florida. FSU's got a lot to play for without a quarterback, but they're still a really good, solid football team all around. But so if I was betting with my money, I'd take Florida State. Your money, I'd take Florida.
Love it. Last thought here, Coach Barnett. We'll get you out. Nebraska-Iowa, Big Red -3.
Boy, this is a hard pick. The problem with you don't want to give Iowa 3 points. That may be the only 3 points they get. So, they don't score a lot of points. This is a pick 'em for me. I don't know which way to go with this one. I think I was, of course, playing there, and I was banged up a little bit, but I'm going to go with Nebraska with points.
Two of your favorite schools, all right? I mean, Iowa and Nebraska. I mean,
That's right. They were my 2 rivals. No question about it. I'd like to see either one of them lose, actually. So, can they both lose?
Let's pray not. Let's pray not for Nebraska fans. Nebraska fans need to go to a bowl game. It's been a while. Coach Barnett.
Well, here's the thing. If there's any consolation, if the under hits in this game, 24.5, America loses. So.
Well, Coach, we'll let you say goodbye as you're serenaded off to your Black Friday with the Go Big Red chant throughout the bar here.
I love it. I'm going to be watching the game, though. It's on in a couple hours, so I'm ready to go.
All right. Coach, we'll get caught up again soon. Best to you and your fam. Thanks for the time today.
All right, Chris. Great being with you.
There he is. Coach Gary Barnett with us, Hail Varsity Radio Black Friday edition. So Mark Cranack, a traveling journalist, tried to chime in. I didn't hear him at all, fellas. Cranack, do we have you? I'm sorry about that.
Cranack is currently muted, so I'm not sure if he is en route or what his status is. Maybe he doesn't know he's muted. But
all right. Well,
what about now? What about now? Do you got me now?
Cranack, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
I got you now.
Hear me now?
I got you now.
It's good to be with you.
Here. I love it. We'll be back. Cranack is here. Gary Sharp, the Iron Horse, is here. Dolman's here. Elijah Herbal. Black Friday rolls forward on Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager.
Where's the perfect place to go for lunch every day? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Where can you watch all of your favorite college and professional sports all season long? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Who's got family-friendly entertainment all throughout the week, including trivia, music bingo, and live music every Friday? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Herd at Sports Bar in La Vista is the spot for lunch, date night, corporate events, or even a late-night cocktail. A one-of-a-kind spot for sports fans and more. Behind Cabela's in La Vista. Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. The holiday season is right around the corner, so give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Steel. With powerful trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws to place under the tree, the Steel Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone. Save $20 on the BG857 battery-powered blower. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide. Real Steel. Find yours. Now $179.99 was $199.99 MSRP. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
It's here, the day you've all been waiting for. Brown Shoe Fit Big Black Friday Sale. We have 20% off store-wide, plus take an additional 20% off the clearance racks with already low sale prices. Smart Roll socks are buy 3, get the 4th pair free. Plus, we have JBU boots for $39.99. So come on down to Brown Shoe Fit's Big Black Friday Sale, going on all weekend long. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. Brown Shoe Fit Lincoln, 66 and Q.
Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Air, the folks with the stars and stripes on their trucks and patriotism in their tool belts, knows if mama's cold, everyone in the house feels the chill. Don't wait until the sub-zero wind chill factor has your family layered up in sweaters and fighting over the blankets, while everyone and their dog is trying to get someone out to get the heat back on. Get your pre-winter checkup now for just $98 and keep mama warm and comfy. Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Air, the choice of patriots everywhere.
Do you hear that jingle? It's Christmas season, the most stressful time of the year. Sending cards, untangling lights, arguing with your relatives. It's enough to pull your hair out. But instead of doing that, wash away your stress at Jet Splash, Lincoln's favorite car wash. Here, you can get the best car wash experience. Plus, alleviate your shopping stress during our jaw-dropping holiday sale. Get the best deals of the year on annual memberships, bundle packs, Jet Gloss ceramic, and more. And then deal with the family drama. Shop now at jetsplash.com.
Tickets are on sale now for Zoo Lights, powered by LES. This year's Zoo Lights experience is even bigger and better than last year. Remark at the stunning displays throughout the zoo, including multiple light shows choreographed to holiday music, a tree canopy light walk, and a brand new 140-foot lighted tunnel experience. Stop by a s'mores or a hot cocoa station.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, Hail Varsity Black Friday edition. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal, Mark Cranack. If you're watching on stream the Hail Varsity YouTube channel, a traveling journalist We have Cranack now. Bill Dolman, Gary Sharp. The crew is all here. Fellas, happy belated Thanksgiving. Cranack, where are you at? Are you parked and started the tailgate, or are you still en route?
I am en route. I'm happy to be here on Chris FOR radio this morning too, by the way. Great job. I just renamed the station, and I just figured if I could do this, I could give you like traffic on the 8s or 9s. When do we do that on KFOR? Like, what's the clock like? I know you're really good at it, but I don't pay attention to it as much as I do the sports stuff. As much as I do the sports. So, like, when is weather and traffic? Is like what times? On the 8s, the 9s,
right
the 10s,
now,
what?
It's 26 after. So give us some traffic. Are you where are you at on the interstate, Cranack?
In the right lane. I'll just say that. I don't want to give away my location. Got a late start today.
I'm at the rest stop, Schmidt. I'm at the rest stop.
Well, no, if he gives away his location, there's going to be people on the road searching out his vehicle, trying to find Mark Cranack, get an autograph on the road.
Exactly. Elijah, thank you. Yeah, we can't have that.
No, let's go around the horn and just kick off with the temperature. It's 22 degrees, but your Husker temperature. Cranack, how you feeling today as Nebraska needs one more to get bowl eligible?
A great deal of anxiety. Feeling. I mean, what do you think of a game like this? Like it has all the pressure elements that you can possibly have for a 5-win team, because it's not just right. I mean, this is it, and you have had how many chances now to swing and miss at bowl eligibility, right? I mean, you've been stuck on 5 wins for a minute now. And here it is, your rival, whether or not you want to say they are. Like Nebraska fans, out of everybody in the Big Ten, this is the team they dislike the most. The proximity, all of that. And if you lose, you're done. You just, season is absolutely over. So the pressure that is on that team today is going to be really interesting. And I almost think being as youthful as they are might be a benefit in some ways on offense, because they don't know anything. They don't know any better. They don't have, I guess, years of disappointment and stage fright that some of their older counterparts do on this team. So that gives me at least a little bit of hope. And then I think also with Chubba Purdy, just the way he played last week. Now, look, it's not like he put up some sort of Heisman performance. Let's temper it a little bit. But he did play freely. He did not seem like he was playing with the weight of the world on his shoulders, for whatever that's worth. And so Nebraska needs that today for sure, because can they beat Iowa? Of course they can. Yes, Iowa is not impenetrable. But you just can't do all the things that Nebraska was doing leading up to last week, which is turn it over, because those guys will pounce.
It's Mark Cranack, Black Friday edition of Hail Varsity.
In the right lane.
In the right lane. Mark Cranack in route. Bill Dolman, Gary Sharp.
I'm switching here momentarily. I'll let y'all know.
The middle lane's the way to go, because like the right lane, you got the semis, like 75. It's a game day. You want to get down to Lincoln. The middle lane, you get to a nice 79, 80. You're clear in the middle lane, and then I'm not going to advise you any faster in the left lane, but I like the left lane too. I avoid the right lane entirely between Lincoln and Omaha usually.
No.
Sometimes it is. Sharpie, sometimes the right lane is the seam, and on that zone read you take and you're gone.
If you're passing in the right lane, that is such poor interstate etiquette. You pass
No. That means that the person in the middle lane is not over in the right lane. That's poor etiquette on them.
So then you pass them in the left lane.
But sometimes there's, I don't know, a milk truck in the left lane that can't giddy up. We'll get
Listen,
back
guys, there's like 8 or 9 in the box here. There's eight or nine in the box. I can't be super choosy on which lane I'm in. I'm just looking for a hole and I'm exploiting it.
Well, they're going to audible to something safer. Gary, get your take. Bill, follow, and then Elijah. When it comes to the temperature here, Nebraska, today's ball game, how you feeling?
Nebraska's going to have to play darn near perfect to win today. Because think about it. Like, if you go back to last Saturday night, they were not very good in complementary football. If they just had a dose of complementary football when the defense is handed a 14-point lead, or the defense finally gets their feet on the ground and they're starting to make stops in the second half, So they're going to need that today. They're going to, of course, need special teams. The Iowa special teams are elite. We know that. Nebraska's special teams just need to be good. They don't need a 19-yard punt from Buschini when they need a 45-yard punt to flip the field, because this will be just like we've been playing since the 1st of October. It'll be a field position turnover type game. Now, what I worry about from Nebraska's standpoint is you are down to essentially Emmett Johnson and Joshua Fleeks as your running back. Grant's injury, now he's questionable. That was a pretty severe injury that he suffered on the first play of overtime last week. So you're going to need Purdy, who kind of went a little bit off script in some of the things he did. And when they were on script at the beginning, it was good. But Iowa has a full game tape on him now. So I think today is more between the ears than the physical attributes of Purdy. But I think across the board, Nebraska, and this is with headsets as well, they're going to need a darn near perfect game. But complementary football is what's going to, get them over the top in a game that is going to look exactly the same as we've seen since Illinois.
My fear is, as I look at the lines, 24.5 over under. Okay, that's telling. Considering
that is insane.
Notre Dame has 25.5 over whoever they play today, right? But then the Nebraska is now a 3. So my question is how will there be 3 inappropriate or inopportune or ill-advised Marcus Satterfield reverses or trick plays in the game at awful times when you've got the ball moving, you've got some tempo, you've got your quarterback in a rhythm, and you've got one of those reverses that ends up from second down and 4 to second down and 7 or third down and 17, and then you punt, and then we see that every week where there is like, why did you go into the playbook that you should not be in at all this season? But we just want to do it anyway, like the play against Maryland at the very end. That's my fear, is that there are going to be some play calls that just don't fit the tenor of the game. My fear with Purdy is he came out last week and played extremely well in the first quarter, and Wisconsin made some adjustments. In the second half, there wasn't quite the same effectiveness. Now, whether that was him or whether that was Nebraska's defense, whatever it was, the game did not have the same finish, obviously. But again, I use the word tenor as it did at the beginning of the game. I'm going to be looking at Nebraska's young receivers. I think Malachi Coleman needs to make a big play.
Thank you.
I think Doss needs to make any of those guys.
Lloyd.
I get those guys confused. Lloyd needs to make a big play downfield, not Lloyd on a reverse. Okay, downfield possession. Billy Kemp needs to have another nice catch over the middle and 15 to 20 yards after the catch. Fedoni. I think Nebraska's passing game is going to be critical, but those young guys need to stretch the defense and make a play, not just stretch and go down and be open, but catch it.
Well, I think one thing you saw, and I'm right with there with Malachi Coleman. Malachi Coleman's most important time past today is going to be the offseason, not spring ball, but he needs to understand that all plays matter. He has a huge upside, but there are times where he kind of takes some plays off or doesn't run the routes properly when the ball's supposed to go his way. I think in terms of Satterfield, who is more comfortable with Purdy as your quarterback, because he's the only guy that looks like a true Power 5 quarterback on this roster, which is crazy, but they did it to themselves. Is that skinny post that they ran for the touchdown pass to Lloyd was a great play design. I think Satterfield has the frost in him. I think Scott Frost was a really, really good play designer, not a great play caller. I think Satterfield is a good play designer, not a great, when do we call this play? So I agree. Yeah, I agree with what Bill said about when is he going to match the flow of the game. But he's more in tune with Purdy. But I would tell you that Purdy's best plays today might be when he goes off script, when some things break down and he puts his foot on the ground and takes off, or he maybe doesn't run the right play and somehow they find themselves into a good play. But you got to remember, this is a ball hawking defense that they're going against. It's just there's a lot of things that would say – against Nebraska, I think if you're looking for Nebraska to win, isn't it more of, man, it's time. How can they go unbeaten in October but winless in November? So the law of averages have to play out. It's just when you're thinking that way, I think this is the wrong team to play against. So that's why I keep saying Nebraska needs all 3 phases to be darn near perfect today.
And guys,
Elijah, your temperature check.
Quickly, the assist from Moonbot here. An interesting note. Jalen Lloyd maybe woke up feeling pissed off today. He has retweeted Trey Palmer's tweet from last year saying, I woke up feeling pissed off. So if you need a fresh wide receiver to step up. Maybe Jalen Lloyd's your guy, waking up feeling pissed off. But my temperature on the game day is we're going to spend some time talking about Chubba Purdy, talking about the fresh wide receivers, talking about the offense. But I don't think that the Husker offense is what wins the football game day. Obviously, you need this offense to put some points on the board, to put together a scoring drive. But 13 points might be all it takes to win this football game, because it's your defense that's going to have to step up and win this game. Whenever Iowa is pinned deep in their own territory, you can't allow them to pick up a couple first downs and flip the field, because your offense is going to struggle to move the ball 90 yards on this Iowa team. It's going to come down to the defense. You know what? Whenever you get Iowa backed up on their own goal line, force them to go 3 and out and give your offense a chance to move 60 yards instead of 90 yards. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on this defense. Maybe not to score points, though that would be huge, but to play as well as they can whenever you have the opportunity to give your offense a chance closer to midfield as opposed to your own side of the ball. If you get into a game where Iowa is taking over at their own 35, their own 40, they pick up a first down, they pin Nebraska deep, force Nebraska into 3 and out, that's where Iowa thrives. Whenever they back up your offense on their own goal line, it's going to come down to the defense to make some plays, force Iowa to punt from their own side of the field, and give your offense an easier drive that way. And one drive might be all it takes from the Husker offense here to get 10 points on the board, 13 points on the board, kick some field goals. That might be what it takes today. Maybe I'm way off. I'm seeing Gary's face, so I'd love to get your take, Gary.
No, I agree with you, but I think the way to beat this Iowa team, which, I mean, we know what we feel about Iowa, but tip your cap. They're 9-2, and they're a punt return away from being 10-1 walking in here today. I don't think 3 beats them. I mean, they're so good defensively, they force you into a 24-yard field goal. I think you got to have 7 today. 7 is greater than 3. That's what my math teacher in 7th grade told me. I just think that's the way to go to beat this Iowa team. They're so good defensively. So I wonder if that plays into
red zone, right?
But Nebraska has been so poor from the 25-yard line in. So that worries me as well as another element of how you find a way to win a game today.
I'm really interested here, and we'll wrap up this segment and roll forward here at the Single Barrel, 9th and P, Hail Varsity Black Friday edition. You know, we talk turnovers, we talk Nebraska in the red zone, very important, but the mentality here, the psyche of a tight ball game in the fourth quarter. You've lived it as a Nebraska fan. Can this team flip the script the last 3 weeks? We'll tell and talk more next. Hail Varsity here at the Single Barrel.
Where's the perfect place to go for lunch every day? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Where can you watch all of your favorite college and professional sports all season long? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Who's got family-friendly entertainment all throughout the week, including trivia, music bingo, and live music every Friday? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Herd at Sports Bar in La Vista is the spot for lunch, date night, corporate events, or even a late-night cocktail. A one-of-a-kind spot for sports fans and more. Behind Cabela's in La Vista. Herd at Sports Bar and Grill.
This Sunday, the Chiefs head to Vegas and look to win big when they face division rival the Las Vegas Raiders. Pregame starts at 2 on your home for Kansas City Chiefs football. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
Total comfort now with Carrier Cool Cash rebates. Call Wellman Heating and Air Conditioning to learn how an efficient home comfort system by Carrier can let you create a healthy, more comfortable indoor environment for your home and lifestyle. With up to $1,575 in Carrier Cool Cash rebates or special financing, explore what's possible with Carrier. Incentives will vary. Ask Wellman for details. Turn to the experts. Wellman Heating and Air Conditioning, your factory authorized dealer for Carrier products. WellmanHeating.com.
This is KFOR's Kathy Blythe inviting you to join Legacy's John Kopetsky and me Saturday mornings for the Aging Adventure, brought to you by Legacy Retirement Communities. Lifestyle and health topics plus fascinating people. The Aging Adventure, 8 a.m. Saturdays on KFOR.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music. News, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hello, neighbor. Super C convenience stores coming at you. Super C is hiring friendly, helpful neighborhood people to join their super teams. You'll receive competitive starting pay, great benefits, holiday pay, cash bonuses, free uniform, and the opportunity to advance with a local family-owned Lincoln business. Super C takes every precaution to keep their patrons and employees safe and healthy. If you're looking for a new gig or a part-time side hustle, apply today. Pick up an application at any of Super C's neighborhood stores or online at superc.net.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Well, the Christmas season is upon us, and the mission staff and I want to take this moment to wish you and your loved ones a very merry and blessed holiday. This year, the vast majority of the homeless in Lincoln will celebrate Christmas at the People's City Mission, and we plan to make it a special time for them. Lots of good food, warm beds, special presents, friendship, and most of all, love. So I'm asking you to help us help them, because Christmas, it's for everyone. Just go to our website at pcmlincoln.org for more information.
You've got your very own handyman to help remodel your home.
Probably could have saved myself a lot of time.
Time is precious. Rob, what consumed your time?
I had done a huge job remodeling my house, one room at a time. The hard part for me was going to all these different stores. It was really frustrating. I kind of pieced it all together. I had already bought everything except the vanity because I could not find one that I liked. As soon as I walked into Handyman, the knowledge, the background of each component, and knowing where it came from and the quality of the workmanship, where they buy it, and then just showing me the different tops that they could interchange with the vanity. They could do so many different variations. I'm Rob DuPont. If I would have walked in there straight away, I could have got everything I wanted right there. I definitely wish I would have started there.
We love to help people save time.
For the very best in bathrooms, come to Handyman under the arch on Sun Valley Boulevard, Lincoln.
Handyman.
Coming up Monday on the Morning Hookup from 10 to 11. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Bill Hooks will be back, and we'll recap Nebraska-Iowa.
And all the other sports.
And Evan Bland will join the show.
Hail Varsity Radio is live. Now, back to Schmitty.
Schmitty's a great guy, but he don't have a brain.
And Elijah.
You want me to speak? We're not pointing you yet.
On Hail Varsity Radio.
Yes, the Snitleys are here. The Boulder Tree Speedy in the flesh. As what's hilarious is thank God we didn't have the mics popped up. They were displaying verbally the feelings of Nebraska fans with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Catch them on the director's cut.
Right, and it was a beautiful picture that was painted. Hail Varsity here, Black Friday edition. Here at the Single Barrel, 9th and P, we'll have one long segment before we get you into the 10 o'clock hour. He's imaginary. He wears red. Clausburn will be with us. The Friday forecast at 10:05. Jeremiah Searles and Evan Bland. Our rewind segments taking you up till kickoff. Real Red Reaction follows. As we'll be at the bar, Seth and Greg and company, God love them. Our third straight Black Friday that Iowa's been in town. We have been at the bar for Black Friday to recap the show. So that gets going at 2:30. 17th and P, the bar. You are going to need to warm up. And the place to warm up is the bar. We have, Arizona Husker always kicks in money for us. All I want for Christmas is Hail Varsity Radio and the Schmidt and Herbal Road Show in Arizona for a bowl game. We are going to bring Dolman with us. We are going to bring Kranak with us, probably Sharpie too, to Arizona. We will camp out at my mother's. I have not asked permission yet. But we have a spot in Arizona Husker. Kranak, do we have you on the hard line right now? Are you with us?
Yeah, middle lane, we're good. I'm gonna bail on this whole Interstate 80 experiment and try to cut over to 6. I think that might be my best bet to park before the tunnel walk. So we're getting there.
Okay, that sounds good. Guys, the topic of success, I brought it up with Coach Barnett. Elijah, you and I hammered it on Wednesday. The progress is evident. You have the eye test. Kranak, start with you. We'll go around the horn again. But is bowl game participation imperative for you to equal success for Nebraska football? Do they got to get to 6 for Mark Kranak to say, yep, this has been a good season?
Yeah, probably. Because there has to be some sort of step change compared to what we've seen for years. And what we've seen for years is, they're close. They're, oh, geez, close in so many games. There's progress, but this guy's coming back, so maybe next year. I think it's time. I mean, it's time for you to do a little bit more than just kind of almost get there. That is something Nebraska hasn't done since 2016, fellas. Like, it's a long time ago. That's a long time. How many quarterbacks has Nebraska trotted out since 2016? Right? Like, it has been a long time, and you were right there. And this is going to be is that your fourth chance? Forgive my ignorance there, because you were 5-3.
Yeah, it's 4. Chance. Yep, 4.
Come on. Your fourth chance in a row, you got to be able to break through on one of those. You have to be able to break through. I mean, put it this way: if they close at 5-7 this year, who would say, it's been a successful season? Like, how can you say that with a straight face? Regardless of injuries and everything else, it's just, it's time. Nebraska needs to take that extra step.
Sharpie, yay or nay on success? I think it's been a successful season. I think getting to a bowl game kind of validates that. You need some sort of validation. I agree with Mark. From a culture standpoint, I think what's been poured is gonna last a long time. So I think there's been progress, there's been development, there's been better football played, turnovers notwithstanding. That's been problematic. But what I've seen from this football team, line's gotten better. Young kids have played at a better level from when they started. Quarterback's been a merry-go-round, but they've been in contention despite all the injuries. So there's been some good, but it'd be really, again, validation is shown with that 6-6 number.
Well, I think you have to look at it a couple of different ways. There's definitely, if at 2:30 today their season is over and they're 5-7, where you went unbeaten in October but winless in November, and you had 4 opportunities to become bowl eligible for the first time since 2016, there is a tinge of disappointment. But then you have to look at the bigger picture. What does 23, how does it impact 24? Does it change what you're doing in 24? No, but in the moment you say, man, that's a disappointment, because once again, Nebraska couldn't seize good fortune that was in front of them. So I saw somebody today wrote failure. I wouldn't call it a failure, because I think they've done stuff that won't show up until next year and the following year. They've done, and they've learned this year of what they have and they don't have. But, yeah, if for the next month it would be a tinge of disappointment if they are not continuing to play. And then you'll step back and go, okay, what did we learn in 23 that is going to benefit this program moving forward? They've taken a step forward. They just haven't been able to seize validation, and a lot of it's been on their own.
No, are we conflating program progress with success this season? Like, program progress, absolutely successful. Matt, right? Like, Matt Rule has implemented multiple things that seem like they will pay off. But
yes,
you can't conflate that with the 2023 football season, right? I think it's sort of what you're getting at there, Gary.
Yep. Well, I think Rule had one of his top 10 quotes of the year about his record.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy with where they're at, and he's angry with where they're at.
Sure.
And I think that makes sense. I think if Nebraska becomes bowl eligible, I think what you have almost the advancement from year 1 to year 3. I think there's a foundation that's been put in place for Nebraska football this season. And if you're able to get to a bowl game, you have taken a 2 steps forward. If not, I think you've taken a step forward, and it's progression from year 1 to year 2. Yeah. What I've liked most about what I've seen from this team this year is that there is a second half fight that I don't think was evident the last couple of seasons. And I remember watching the Minnesota game last year. Nebraska led at halftime, and when that team came back out on the field in the second half, it looked like there was an inevitability that they were going to let it slip away and lose. The same way with the Illinois game in Lincoln. These are home games last year where they just came out and there was no fight in them whatsoever. And the only fight you really saw was at the end of the year in the Iowa game, and they went over there and pulled off the upset. But there was just this depression around the program that I don't think is there anymore. They fight from start to finish. Sometimes they don't end up on the right side of the scoreboard, as has been evident in the 3 previous tries to get to a 6th win. But I think that there has been significant advancement from year 1 into year 2. A bowl game just advances them a little bit further into year 3.
Well, if we're talking about progress here, Nebraska's got a head coach down on the field right now. He's wearing shorts in this weather. And if that's not a football guy leading the program, I don't know what it is. That's progress to me.
I love it. I love it. A football guy for sure in shorts and no sleeves. Elijah, I think you can look big picture and immediate future as in this season, and it can be 2 different things. And I think the validation would do wonders. I think the springboard / acceleration is very real if they can get it done today. And they can always live in the reality of, hey, they did their best and it just wasn't enough this year. And I think they can learn from it and be better next season, no matter what happens today. But it'd be really good for this team and this program when we talk about learning how to win, to get it done against this caliber of program that lives and lives pretty well in these tight ball games.
Yeah, and that is a huge step in terms of progress. But I think the big thing for a win today, in my mind, is the proof of concept, because Kranak laid it out. There's changes that have been implemented to the program that seem like they should work. Husker fans are waiting for that proof of concept that, no, it's not just this seems like it should work, this will work. There's that flip that you're waiting for of not just, the physical, the hitting at practice, the tackling. Show me that this is going to translate into wins. That's what Husker fans want to see. Show me that it's going to take down the Wisconsins and the Iowas of the world, that Nebraska is getting back to its roots. You've seen steps. That bowl game is the first proof of concept that, yes, this is working, not only for fans, but for recruits, for guys in the transfer portal, for a potential another defensive coordinator should you have to replace Tony White at the end of the season. There is importance to that proof of concept that, no, these aren't just ideas that we have that we think are going to work somewhere down the road. They're beginning to work. We're seeing the change in year 1. That's what a bowl game, that's what 6 wins means to me. And that's what's on the line, at least in my mind, in a Nebraska-Iowa game here on Black Friday. Is there proof that these changes that you are making within the Husker football program are beginning to work, not just that they're expected to work?
Hey, isn't there another part of – okay, so there's a lot of layers to this discussion about the impact of today, win or loss. But isn't there also the element that for Nebraska to win today, they can't be Nebraska? Because in the past, they've been Nebraska, and they've gotten badly beaten in the special teams. They have hurt themselves. They have had these opportunities where they haven't been able to seize them. This is the 4th time on Black Friday that Nebraska goes into a home game with a chance to go to a bowl in that stadium on Black Friday, Colorado, and then twice against Iowa. So this will be the 3rd time. So Nebraska to win today almost has to not be Nebraska.
Take care of the football.
I mean, isn't that? But am I off there?
No, you're not. I mean, you got to be sound in special teams. They have not been consistent in special teams. You not only need to be consistent, but you need to be good, or match Iowa, and they're great. As our dear friend Steven chimes in on the stream, somebody needs to put a bounty out on Iowa's punter. First time that's been mentioned.
When I saw the line, I thought, wow, is their punter out?
Kranak, go ahead.
Well, wow, I just drove by a train on Highway 6. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but
we
it
heard
decided to sound its horn right as I was doing it. You know what it also takes against Iowa? I would say really since the Pelini era, it seems like it takes an exceptional performance by somebody on offense to break through, or on special teams. So DPE had one of those, Pearson L, long return. That completely put Nebraska over the top, and that was the difference.
14, yep.
Rex Burkhead, you were able to just give him the ball, just, hey, battering ram, just close this thing out, and he was able to do that. Trey Palmer last year, he was the only guy, like, that was the offense. get Trey over the top, and he had a damn near career day against Iowa. It's going to take that, and what I'm concerned about is I don't know who that would be on offense, because all three of those guys that we were talking about are that I just mentioned were proven offensive performers that you could rely on, and you're trying to think, like, who's that guy on Nebraska right now? Like, who is that proven go-to? You need a few yards up, get it to him. You can't answer that question right now. I guess that's what gives me the most concern about today is I don't know who that would be. So somebody needs to step up and have a way above average performance. I have no idea who Nebraska can get that from.
Your candidate is Emmett Johnson, the way he's been trending. Our number 2 coming up. It's Hail Varsity Black Friday edition.
Good segue to break there.
Here at the Single Barrel. I paused. I'm thinking how many radio hours I've done already. We're going into hour 2 of Hail Varsity. You've taught me well, both of you.
You've seen me having a brain aneurysm trying to figure out how I'm going to make this work. We're way
so
over
we're going to break before Elijah uses the palm and the back of the hand on me. Hour 2 coming up on Hail Varsity.
Weather on the 6s.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. J.D. Power now ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. Save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed and Cyber Monday. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-881-4242. That's 800-881-4242.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Make a difference by helping out less fortunate kids in the Lincoln area this holiday season with KFOR's Operation Santa Claus. I'm Jeff Moats from the KFOR Newsroom. Since 1948, KFOR's Operation Santa Claus has helped provide a gift for a child to brighten his or her spirit during the holiday season. You can help by sending your donation to KFOR's Operation Santa Claus, 3800 Cornhusker Highway here in Lincoln. The zip code is 68504. You can also donate through our website, KFORnow.com.
A funeral that goes smoothly is often the result of a family having plans in place and giving it a lot of thought ahead of time. Just like a home improvement project, little oversights often arise that can be so annoying. But usually they can be avoided with careful planning and good communication, both of which are difficult if you're rushed and are working through the loss of a loved one. If you'd like to visit about your pre-arrangements, give us a call and we can arrange a short visit. Butheris Mason Love at 40th and A Street, 402-488-0934. Recommended by family and friends.
The bakers of Country Hearth and Village Hearth Breads are proud to support local education with Loaves for Learning, the program that makes it easy to earn money for your school. Enjoy Country Hearth and Village Hearth all-natural breads, buns, bagels, and more. Then save the UPC from the package for your school to collect and redeem. Each is worth 5 cents and can be used for books, computers, sports, music, whatever your school needs. Up to $10,000 a year. Learn more at loavesforlearning.com. Country Hearth and Village Hearth Breads, baking our best for you.
This is your station for local news, talk, sports, and weather. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark.
Cautious celebrations in Tel Aviv with the news the first group of hostages released by Hamas is now with the Red Cross en route to Israel. It's all part of the 4-day ceasefire, and ABC's Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv has more on what's next for this group.
They're going to give them a quick medical check. At that point, they'll also verify their identification. They don't exactly know who's going to be coming across the border. They'll also be handed phones, and at that moment, they'll be able to call their family members, their loved ones, for the first time in 47 days.
Israel's going to release Palestinian prisoners and allow more supplies into Gaza. ABC's Patrick Revel in Tel Aviv has more on how this will affect the ongoing war.
There is a possibility that this can be extended. But of course, as the more this goes on, there's going to start to be more and more tension between Israel's desire to continue its operation inside Gaza, as well as Hamas, possibly taking advantage of the situation to try and draw out the ceasefire as long as possible.
President Biden, according to the White House, has been speaking with regional partners to complete the deal, says ABC's Selena Wang, traveling with the president in Nantucket.
This is incredibly high stakes, high pressure for the Biden administration, with senior administration officials telling me that Biden has been very hands-on in this process and personally involved in the negotiations. He had personally urged the Emir of Qatar to press Hamas to accept this deal and for Israel's prime minister to do so as well.
News of a respiratory illness in China set off alarm bells for many people around the world, but ABC's Britt Clennet in Hong Kong says
Chinese local media reported earlier that some hospitals in northern China are at capacity with young patients as clusters of what was originally reported as undiagnosed pneumonia have been on the rise since last month. But these have now been attributed to common viruses like the flu, like RSV and other bacterial illnesses.
You're listening to ABC News.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine. Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Music mogul Sean Combs is the latest high-profile man who's being sued under a New York law that's about to expire. ABC's Aaron Katursky explains.
Sean Combs, who recently settled one lawsuit filed under the Adult Survivors Act, was hit with a second by a woman who says he drugged and sexually assaulted her in 1991. Combs denied it, a spokesperson calling the claim made up and not credible, and saying in a statement to ABC News, this last-minute lawsuit is an example of how a well-intentioned law can be turned on its head.
Other well-known people to face these lawsuits, the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, Oscar winner Jamie Foxx, and rock star Axl Rose. Data from 24 U.S. cities shows that shoplifting climbed by 16% in the first half of the year compared with the same period in 2019. And as the holiday shopping season arrives, retailers and police departments are joining forces.
The self-checkout line has become ubiquitous across the retail landscape, but it's invited a new kind of shoplifting called skip scanning, in which the thief
scans 1, skips 2, scans 1, skips 3.
Detective Seth Cockrum says store clerks and police have deployed an off-the-shelf walkie-talkie phone app to speed up crime reporting.
As soon as somebody would start giving a description, we'd start making our way to that area and wait for them to come out. And as soon as they hit that exit door, we're on them.
In its early rollout, he says, it's led to the arrest of theft suspects before they can reach their cars. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
I'm Tamron Hall. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious, farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, with more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's.
KFOR's Operation Santa has been providing toys for Lincoln children in need for over 70 years. Each child receives a toy they specifically asked Santa for. You can help Santa by giving a donation safely and securely online at KFORnow.com or by mailing your check or money order to the KFOR studios. All of the proceeds go directly to the children. Thank you for making Christmas possible for all the children again this year. From KFOR's Operation Santa.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Marilyn Facer recommends 3-day kitchen and bath.
Working with Dave was an absolute delight. Once everything was scheduled, everything went perfect.
Have you ever had a remodel done before?
About 25 years ago. It was a nightmare.
Was 3-day kitchen and bath on time?
There was no delays. Everything was on time. All the deadlines were met. Everything came at once.
Would you recommend 3-day kitchen and bath to your friends and neighbors?
I highly recommend them to anybody.
Top quality products and craftsmanship in 3 days or less. Call 3-day kitchen and bath. Always on time as promised, at the price promised, and your job comes with complete satisfaction guarantee. No ifs, ands, or buts. Visit their website at 3daykitchen.com. That's 3daykitchen.com.
3-day kitchen and bath.
For all your remodeling needs, call Good Guy Construction at 435-3355.
Keep up with the local news, sports, your favorite talk shows, and pro shows on KFOR wherever you roam. Stream us 24/7 at KFORnow.com or on your mobile. You can download the free iHeart or TuneIn app and stream KFOR on the go.
The following is a paid program. Content is provided by Hurrdat Media. The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbal.
T-minus 1 hour as we get you ready for Nebraska and Iowa. It's hour 2, Hail Varsity Black Friday edition. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal, as we will get into the Friday forecast in a minute. On the road here at the Single Barrel 9th and P, as we are powered by your friends at Sauter Heyman, part of the Road Show experience. You are on air, Elijah. There we go. All right, the Snitleys are fed and watered. They're ready to go. They are doing well on the number of Don Draper tributes this morning. There we go. Big thanks to Gary Sharp, the Iron Horse, for coming by. The Pride of Fairbury, Bill Dolman with us in this first hour. Also, Mark Kranak on the road as we settle in for some predictions. Jeremiah Searles coming up. Searles take on Nebraska, Iowa here at this hour. Evan Bland, a rewind with Evan as we check in with Evan here right before kickoff at 11. Again, the bar is where we're at for post-game Real Red Reaction at 2:30. Do we have the imaginary and the red-clad Clausburn with us for the forecast, Elijah?
We're going to see. I think I have both Kranak and Clausburn on the phone lines. I think I'm going to pull some magic and get the double phone line action. Can you guys both hear me? Let's start with Claus. Are you with us, Claus?
Well, I think we're both here. We're not together. I don't want any rumors to get started about anything, but I think we're both here.
And Kranak, do you have us?
I mean, I do. Clausburn, do you hear me? Are we together?
I've got you, Mark.
This is
wow.
Incredible.
Good to hear you.
Incredible. I have pulled it off. There's been no errors. Somebody go buy a lottery ticket for me. This is incredible stuff.
Somebody get to the old sports book
where Elijah brags about his button pushing.
All right, let's get to the forecast. As Kranak, I didn't know if you were tailgating and parked yet or not. So thanks for hanging into this second hour with me, man.
Well, hey, listen up, by the way. I'm pretty disappointed in my fellow Omahans for many reasons. Being Creighton fans is one. Being two being driving from Omaha to Lincoln like the amount of people that do not know about Highway 6 is just mind-boggling to me. Like, Interstate 80 is a parking lot the whole way. You exit, you go Highway 6, and you're cruising. Like, I just don't understand why people don't understand this. It's okay.
You're okay. You're all right with it. Let's get into the forecast as we move forward. And you have, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about the games this weekend? I mean, there's not a lot of drama, I don't think. We'll start off with Oregon State, as the Ducks trying to improve their record and get back to the Pac-12 championship. Oregon State's a hell of a good football team. They've just lost some close ball games as they are on the verge of 8-4. Minus 16 is the number. I think it's dropped to now minus 14. I'm going to go with Oregon. I don't think they cover. I hate numbers. This reminds me of all those Nebraska-Colorado games, fellas, where Nebraska was a high double-digit favorite, 17.5 points. Never ended up that way. You had to sweat it out. I think Oregon wins at home by about a touchdown, 35-28, but no way is Oregon State going to get boat raced here by nearly 3 touchdowns. I'll take Oregon to win, Oregon State to cover. Elijah, what do you think?
And I should be noted that in your text alerting us to which games we're picking, it says Oregon at Oregon. So I've done my research all wrong here. I thought we were getting an Oregon intra-squad match. So I'm pulling this one out here. I'm going Oregon 35, Oregon State 24, a win for the Ducks, no cover.
Okay. Kranak, what do you think here? You betting with the Beavers or the Ducks?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think it's a closer game than 14 or 17. And I think Oregon State can keep them off the board a little bit more just with their familiarity and with kind of how they're built. I'm going to go Oregon 31 and Oregon State 24.
Claus, what are you thinking here? Oregon State or Oregon? How you lean?
Well, as I understand, this is the last time that these two programs will play a game like this for at least some time. And Iowa knows a few things about being last. Of course, last in snow, last in quality corn, and last in having trophy cases filled with football trophies of imports. So they ought to be pretty familiar with that and enjoy the game tomorrow. But I'll take Oregon in this one, 31, and Oregon State 24.
On to Florida State. Kranak, you've got a lot of family down there in Florida. So Florida State is minus 6.5. They do not have their quarterback. The backup came in, played well against Noah Walters in the Fighting North Alabama squad. I just think this is danger zone here for Florida. They got to get to 6 for a bowl game. I think they win outright. I'll take the points and I'll take the Gators. I think Florida State's reeling, and it'll be felt without their starting quarterback. So give me the Gators 24-21 over Florida State. Elijah, what do you say?
This line feels like something of a trap to me because people are going to know Florida State, Travis quarterback, he's out for the year. He was such a dynamic playmaker. Florida needs it for the bowl game. The line at 6.5 feels like a trap. I'm going to take Florida State to cover here. I think you're getting some good value. It's a very good team. They still have Keon Coleman. I'm going to take Florida State to win this one 31-21. The Gators just aren't great this year. And despite the fact there's no quarterback, Florida State is the much better all-around football team. So I think 6.5 is actually an advantage Florida State if you're going to be hitting the betting market.
Florida State's D-line is very, very talented. Kranak, are you going with the Noles or Gators?
You know, I think Florida's had a rough go of late. You think Florida State's reeling. Florida's been reeling as a program overall. A lot of disarray there. It's not dissimilar to maybe the angst that Nebraska fans have been feeling for quite some time. Florida State seems like they're in a better headspace overall. It's not good that they don't have their quarterback, but you mentioned it. They are loaded elsewhere. I think this one stays relatively low scoring. Florida generally gets into the 30s at least, but I think Florida State can hold them out of that. I will take Florida State 30 and Florida 20.
Claus, you going Noles or Gators?
Well, it's been sort of interesting since that championship game where they played each other again 27 years ago. seems like neither team has really been good at the same time. So either Florida State's good and Florida's down, or Florida's good and Florida State's down. They've sort of been wrestling for relevance. And speaking of wrestling and relevance, here's a PSA to Iowa fans. Your wrestling trophies are irrelevant in discussions about football and the relative greatness of the program. So whenever someone points out that you've done nothing in football, bringing up your wrestling trophies does nothing. In this game, I'll take Florida State 31 and Florida 24.
On to the game, Ohio State, Michigan. I have flip-flopped. There's other shows, i.e. the Average Joe Sports Show podcast, where I picked Ohio State. I'm gonna Nixon tape that. I'm gonna lean back Michigan, and I think Michigan wins outright. I don't think they cover. I think they win by a field goal. But give me the Fighting Harbaughs and their binoculars, 27-24 over the Buckeyes, and Ryan Day and his dyed beard will sweat. Elijah, what do you think here? Michigan or Ohio State?
Lower scoring game than people I expected, I think, is what we're in for. Two very, very good defenses battling it out. J.J. McCarthy looked average last week. I think that, honestly, he's a good quarterback. I think he's better than what he showed last week. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's good enough to beat this Ohio State secondary mano-a-mano, especially Roman Wilson. Unsure what his status is going to be, at least as of right now. I think it's a lower scoring game. I think Michigan wins. I think they're a very good football team, probably the best in America. They're going to play for the spirit of Jim Harbaugh, honoring his memory. Give me Michigan at 20 and Ohio State 14.
Krenak, what do you say here? Michigan, Ohio State.
I've been wanting to count out Ohio State. That whole, being born on second base and thinking you hit a double is kind of how I viewed Ryan Day for a while. But he's been able to maintain. And I think for a little bit they were getting away from being physical, and they were a little bit too in love with the passing game, with the talented quarterback that they've had. But I think this year they've kind of redoubled down on better defense, on doing something on the ground at least, and being a little more committed to it than they were before. So, and I think that's why they've been getting waxed by Michigan in the past couple of years, is just, the lack of physicality overall. And then Marvin Harrison being the most dynamic receiver in college football, he's going to get loose. And I think all this pressure, all this talk about Michigan cheating is starting to wear on them a little bit. You saw some chinks in the armor against Maryland last week. I think Ohio State wins it in a close one, 27-24.
Ooh, Buckeyes, says Krenak. Claus, you going to Ohio State? You going Michigan?
Well, Mark mentioned the distractions that Michigan has been having to deal with, and I saw yesterday Ohio State may have a little distraction of their own. Someone reporting that he may be taking the Texas A&M job, Ryan Day taking the Texas A&M job. And Texas A&M, of course, is a school that likes to put up banners for just about anything, claim national championships that weren't there. Not unlike our friends across the river in Iowa. You did not win 3 championships in the 50s, Iowa. In fact, no one knew who you were. So unless there was a presidential election at that time, then maybe they paid attention. So I think Ohio State probably has a little bit more going for it in this one. So I'll take the Buckeyes 24 and Michigan 21.
As we wind down the forecast, don't forget Jeremiah Searles, Evan Bland, Rewind coming up here as we get you ready for kickoff. Nebraska-Iowa Hail Varsity Roadshow here at the Single Barrel. And we're powered on the road by your friends at Sauter Heyman. At the bar for real. Red Reaction follows at 2:30. So live post game, Nebraska-Iowa -3, Big Red. Sorry to do this, but I've got to stick with the fact that Iowa is 17-1 in their last 18 in November. That one loss to Nebraska. I have a hard time taking Nebraska today, and the only 2 losses in the last billion Novembers to Nebraska. I just don't think Nebraska can play clean enough on special teams, and I think Chubba has a good ball game, but it's not enough. Not enough. Give me Iowa 14, Nebraska 10. Clausburn, what say you in a moment? Elijah, talk me off the ledge.
I'm not going to talk you off the ledge, Schmitty. There's an old Mark Twain quote. There's an old Mark Twain quote I keep coming back to. Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. Nebraska is playing an Iowa brand of football right now. I think Black Friday, the game we're about to see, is going to be a very Iowa-esque game. I think they win with their experience winning games like this. Nebraska has been hit or miss in the close games this season. I think there's some sort of mistake Nebraska makes in that fourth quarter. Iowa takes advantage, and once they take advantage of mistakes like that, they don't tend to lose football games. So that's what it comes down to for me. Nebraska's offense, too mistake-prone. Iowa's offense has the experience in ugly, slugfest, Big Ten West type games like this. I got the Hawkeyes winning this one 14-10, a close football game.
The
Hawkeyes get some short fields, and I think they're able to capitalize with some touchdowns, unfortunately. It's a 14-10 win for Iowa, and the unders barely hit.
You and I are on the same page. Kranak, what happens?
3-0 Iowa in overtime.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Kranak says 3-0. Clausburn, wrap it up here for the forecast. Nebraska-Iowa -3.
I can't believe the three of you would all pick that way and this close to Christmas with me on the phone line. So just keep that in mind when you wind up with a less than desirable Christmas haul. You know, this year, Nebraska and Iowa, we've been making a lot of fun of Iowa's offense, being relatively low scoring, and really, Nebraska's offense hasn't been any better. Of course, we're dealing with a lot of injuries to our offensive line, to the running backs, wide receivers, and we've got a quarterback room that frankly would fit quite well in a Marx Brothers movie with all that comedy. But Iowa has been low scoring, I think, as a service to their fans because counting higher than 14 in Iowa requires an advanced degree. So, I think we've got probably a better excuse for having a low-scoring offense, and I think it really doesn't matter today. Nebraska's going to take this one, head into a bowl game with a final score of 21 and Iowa 2.
Oh, wow. 21-2, the cover, the win, the blowout, says Clausburn. Claus, enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. Thank you much for coming on today.
Okay.
There he goes, Clausburn. He's imaginary. He wears red. Kranak, stay warm, brother, and we'll pour you one here for post-game if you can swing on by the bar, all right?
This is absolutely going to happen. Can't wait to see you there. Let's go.
All right. There he goes, Mark Kranak. And we'll step away, and the Black Friday edition of Hail Varsity continues here with the single barrel. Big thanks to Mark Kranak. We'll rewind with Jeremiah Searles. Searles take on Nebraska-Iowa. Evan Bland also this hour as we take you up to kickoff at 11. Hail Varsity powered by Corn Head Lager and brought to you by Sauter Heyman on the road.
Where's the perfect place to go for lunch every day? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Where can you watch all of your favorite college and professional sports all season long? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Who's got family-friendly entertainment all throughout the week, including trivia, music bingo, and live music every Friday? Herd at Sports Bar and Grill. Herd at Sports Bar in La Vista is the spot for lunch, date night, corporate events, or even a late-night cocktail. A one-of-a-kind spot for sports fans and more. Behind Cabela's in La Vista. Herd at Sports Bar and Grill.
Hello, neighbor. Super C convenience stores with the perfect holiday gift. Here it is, a Super C gift card. You can use it on gas, snacks, whatever. Pick up a few for the people on your list. Super C gift cards are always the right color, the perfect size, and they're good for everything. With 11 neighborhood locations, there's always a Super C close by for a hot snack, sweet treat, and cold drink. Give a Super C gift card to your friends and neighbors from your friendly, locally owned Neighbors Super C, where they're always happy to see you. Oh, and don't forget the ice.
You've got your very own handyman to help remodel your home.
Probably could have saved myself a lot of time.
Time is precious. Rob, what consumed your time?
I had done a huge job remodeling my house, one room at a time. The hard part for me was going to all these different stores. It was really frustrating. I kind of pieced it all together. I had already bought everything except the vanity because I could not find one that I liked. As soon as I walked into Handyman, the knowledge, the background of each component, and knowing where it came from and the quality of the workmanship, where they buy it, and then just showing me the different tops that they could interchange with the vanity. They could do so many different variations. I'm Rob DuPont. If I would have walked in there straight away, I could have got everything I wanted right there. I definitely wish I would have started there.
We love to help people save time.
For the very best in bathrooms, come to Handyman under the arch on Sun Valley Boulevard, Lincoln.
Handyman.
Hi, this is Jason Ball, president of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. You know, the holiday shopping season is here, and I'm asking everyone in Lincoln to include local and small business in your gift-giving plans this year. Small businesses and locally owned businesses define our culture and make our community unique. And if we want more of those businesses to enjoy, we need to shop with them during the holiday season. So to help, the Chamber has compiled a Shop Local gift guide to help you find that perfect gift or experience right here in Lincoln. It has gifts for him, gifts for her, gifts for the coffee lover or wine connoisseur, and even help to plan your holiday gathering. So please visit lcoc.com/shoplocal. It has something for everyone. Go there now, plan your Black Friday and Small Business Saturday shopping, and take pride.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back into it. It's Hour 2. It's Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Cornhead Lager. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal. We welcome in our favorite Husker NFL offensive lineman, Jeremiah Searles. He's all ready for turkey and stuffing and, dare I say, green bean casserole, Papa Searles?
I don't discriminate against any Thanksgiving food.
No
except for cranberry
size.
sauce.
Okay.
Cranberry sauce is disgusting.
Get the canned.
That's gross. No. That's
It's a fruit. It's a fruit roll up. It's a fruit roll up in a can.
No.
That's what it tastes like.
There's no need for that. If I want sugar, I'm going straight to the pie. I'm not going to cranberry sauce. If I want sugar and filling, straight to the pumpkin apple pie.
No, here's my thing. The canned cranberry sauce, no. Homemade cranberry sauce, yes.
Never made it homemade. And Searles is like setting both on fire. It's okay. Searles, you're not going to do a little pecan action?
I mean, again, I discriminate against no pies, but I think the wife went with my mom and got apple and pumpkin pies. So,
okay.
That's the go-to here. It's a little smaller Thanksgiving here at my parents' place. They have a little bit smaller of a house. Kitchen's not very big, so my wife actually brought her toaster oven with her so we could have another oven here. So
cool.
We're all set we're doing it tomorrow night, Wednesday night, because I'm actually driving back to Nebraska on Thanksgiving.
So that's a roadie. That's a quick turn and burn.
It is. Yeah, we got out here on Sunday and then turn around because I had New York on Saturday to watch J-Mike play on Sunday against the Patriots, Giants-Patriots. So excited about that too.
That'll be good. So Iowa.
Well, saying Giants-Patriots will be good. That's
no.
Seeing your guy, that'll be good. But I'm not sure about watching the Giants and the Patriots play football.
Listen. The last two times I've had 2 trips out to New York that have gotten canceled. The first one was on the Monday Night Football, the opener, and they got killed, and it was pouring rain. The second time I was supposed to go out there was 2 weeks ago, and they ended up pouring rain, getting killed again. So I'm hoping that now third time's a charm. It's going to be decent weather. I know it's not going to be warm in New York at the end of November. Decent weather and possibly a better game.
Iowa is what side? The cranberry sauce of the Searles?
Yeah, Iowa's the leftovers you feed to the dog after everything's done. You scrape it off the plate and go, there you go, bud. Welcome to Thanksgiving.
So Iowa hate is real. You guys didn't lose. You lost one game to them.
In my senior year.
Yeah, you weren't playing though, were you?
I was dinged up. I had an MCL sprain, but that one still sticks in my craw, man. We had a lot of big wins and the Memorial, a lot of big losses, but walking off Memorial Stadium for the last time with a loss to those losers, that one stuck.
Well, tell me about the senior day factor of that day. Is that why that stings so much that, you get honored pregame, you get your little rose, you get a hug from Coach Bo, and you guys can't get it done on senior day? I've heard a lot of stories of people that if it's a loss on senior day, it sticks on your craw for a long time.
100%. It's the last, it's your last impression of a Husker, right? I know we had the bowl game, but like your last impression of in that stadium, what will you be remembered for? And I know people forget, but you don't forget your last time in that stadium. Like I can remember that day vividly, coming out of the tunnel, giving Coach Bo a hug, seeing my mom, my dad, my brother there on the stadium, and just wanting to walk off there with the Heroes Trophy and going, man, my last time here was a win, a big win over our rivals. And when that doesn't happen, it just really sticks with you as a player.
Jeremiah Searles with us, Hail Varsity Radio, Nebraska-Iowa week as Searles gearing up for Thanksgiving with the fam. With that game, not to dwell on it too much, but that was the infamous Bo swinging his hat. How close to Bo were you swinging the hat around? Because he was within millimeters of the official.
I still to this day kind of wish, what would have happened if he did? Right? He would have gotten kicked out for sure.
Sure.
Right? He would have gotten ejected, and it's maybe that's all we would have needed. Right? Maybe him getting the boot and giving the double birds on the way out would have been the little nudge in the pants that we needed. But I also do remember that being the game where we all kind of went to bat for him afterwards to keep his job. Right? I remember myself, Kenny Bell. I think that was the infamous "I'll go to the gates of hell to fight for Bo Pelini" type of quote. But I wasn't anywhere close to him. I remember getting the foul. I think I was on the sideline, and I remember getting hearing the whistle and looking up at the big board and seeing him do it. Well, that's not good.
Searles, what do you make of last week? I want to focus in on Chubba and a little bit of the spark the offense had. What do you see from the defense? And let's apply it to Black Friday.
Yeah, I thought for the situation that Chubba came in, I was really proud of the way that he came in and at least started that football game, right? Showing that he's a little faster than I gave him credit for. I mean, I was yelling, slide, and I was like, oh, score, run, little boy, run, right? Looked like the poor man's Eric Crouch streaking up the sideline there. And, so that was great. And then he delivered a couple good balls. But overall, he needs to take a big jump if he is the starter this week of understanding that it's okay to get from 1 to 2 to 3 in his progression. Because towards the end of the game there, it was 1 tuck and run. And there was plenty of times I went back and watched the tape, Bullock's coming open over the middle in the second window, or Fedoni's passing the linebackers to get to the second window. And overall, I thought the pass protection was pretty good for the most part from the offensive line. He wasn't under duress a ton all day. So like we talked about at the beginning of the season, guys taking huge jumps from week 1 to week 2. I'd like to see what Purdy can look like going from first start to second start if he is the guy. On the defensive side of the ball, I was a little disappointed in our ability to get after the quarterback. I thought this was, Tanner Mordecai was a guy who would be able to get to, frustrate, fluster, and he was able to create and move with his legs, not under pressure, but more just because he could and create because it was covered down the field. So losing guys like Nash was a little dinged up, losing Blaze Gunnerson, Elijah Judy, our depth is really being tested at a position that was already kind of limited on depth to start with. So that's going to be something very closely watched on Black Friday of how does the depth of our defensive line hold up, because it was pretty apparent when 0 and 9 were out of the game, Wisconsin knew it, and Wisconsin went straight up the gut, and I expect Iowa to do a lot of the same.
Yeah, with Iowa's offensive struggles, Searles, is that a concern for you? The fact that Nebraska's defensive line is thin, or because of Iowa's offensive struggles, do you think that this might be the game where if you are going to be thin on the defensive line, you can be okay? I guess which side of the coin are you in terms of just how bad is Iowa's offense?
Yeah, I honestly believe Wisconsin's offensive line is much better than Iowa's offensive line. I mean, Tanner Bortolini's an NFL player at center. Jack Nelson's an NFL player at tackle. Right? You look at Iowa's offensive line, and they just don't have the same type of caliber player across the board. So, yeah, it's okay to be a little bit thin at that position, but when it becomes a war of attrition, which is what this game is going to be on Friday, it's the depth that worries me in the second half of can these guys sustain the going and getting beaten? Can Nash and Ty play 50, 60 snaps a game? Can those guys do it? And if they can, great. But if they can't, that's when I start getting a little concerned.
And to flip it around, Searles, what kind of talent do you see on the Iowa defense? I mean, they're fantastic. As for Chubba, we talked about how poised he was against Wisconsin. I think you worry about that with an Iowa defense that is a a bunch of ball hawks in the secondary, linebackers that are fast and flow to the football and really make you pay whenever you try to go inside. What is your concern level in terms of getting another poised performance from Chuba Purdy on Friday?
Yeah, it's very concerning because the strength of this defense is their front seven. I mean, their front seven, you talk about the interceptions, those type of things in the back end, that's all caused by the defensive linemen, the linebackers getting to the quarterback and speeding up the throws or giving inherent throws. So for me, being able to run the football in this game is going to be pivotal, but Iowa hasn't let anyone run on them really all year. And for the way to do it, if you are going to run against this Iowa team, is you can't just bang your head against the wall running up the A gaps and the B gaps. It's got to be the option game, getting to the outside, the speed options, the pin pull type stuff, trying to get to their edges, and then understanding when to take your shots. With Cooper DeJean being out for them, their All-American corner, first-round draft pick, him not being in there, they're a little thin at the cornerback position. So if you can try and establish even a little bit of a run, I think we'll have limited opportunities, and we have to make sure we take advantage of them, of taking shots over their head to Malachi Coleman or Billy Kemp or Doss, those type of things, because there's not going to be many of them, because you're not going to be able to sit back there and pass protection against this team for a very long time. But when we have those opportunities, we have to make the most of them.
Searles, what do you think happens at quarterback? Do you think Chuba gets the nod for a second week because of his dual threat ability? I mean, clearly he looks like he's the best passer, but you talked about how pivotal the run game is going to be. If Harburg's healthy, I mean, he's a tougher runner, or at least his style is more physical. Chuba's a faster runner, or at least more elusive, more big play. Both guys can do big plays on the ground.
Yeah, honestly, I think we'll see all three. With Grant being injured and being out of that game, you're thin at the linebacker or the running back position. Like, I remember Grant getting hurt. I looked at my wife and I was like, gun to my head, tell me who the fourth running back is behind Josh Fleeks. No idea. Pull the trigger. Right? Like, we're basically at that point in depth chart on the running back position. So having Harburg, Chuba, and even possibly Sims finding a way to put some gadgets in and finding ways to try and just get some guys that can run with the ball in their hands, I think we'll see all three as a chance. And honestly, Harburg being healthy at this time of the year, coming off a high ankle like that, you're not really
sort of kind of.
You're sort of kind of healthy. And if that is his strength of the game, is being a powerful runner, if you're kind of running on an 80% or even a 75% leg, that's not really the strength of your game anymore.
Searles, with the issue really for the offense all year being trying to find that one quarterback, your solution is three quarterbacks. Put them all in the game at the same time. Is that what you're saying here? Like, remember the old Bo Pelini diamond formation? Yeah. You just go three quarterbacks in the backfield?
Why not, right? Have Harburg, have Purdy, have Sims back there. Obviously, don't give it to Sims. But, just kind of figure it out as you go. Who knows what's going to happen?
Searles, what's this season kind of meant to you as a guy who's had a chance to do a couple of games from the booth? You're around the program a ton. You bleed red. Have you been impressed, happy, pausing? Where's your take on the topic of progress?
Yeah, I called at the beginning of the year, I thought it was going to be a 5-win season. That's kind of where I pegged it, and the sad thing is this could very easily be a 7-win season right now. I think we dropped the game in Minneapolis and we dropped the Maryland game. Those are the two games to me that are really dropped games that I thought we had every opportunity to win those football games. And, so you look at a team that's really close in a lot of areas. And I know that Husker Nation and myself included kind of fall into this trap of like, well, Scott Frost did the same thing, right? Like, it was a 1-score games. It was all this stuff. But for me, they're different end of game scenarios than they've been in the past, in the fact that we are not imploding in the fourth quarter, in my opinion. We're putting ourselves in a position we're just not quite executing at the high enough level to win, but it's not a total implosion like we've seen at times in the fourth quarter under the Scott Frost regime. So I'm happy with where the growth is. I'm happy with where I see the future of this offense and this defense and this special teams and this whole team going. Again, I think Matt Rule's done a phenomenal job of flipping the culture on its head within the first year. I am happy with where the Husker program is at, and I think it'd be a great way to cap off the year to go to a bowl game.
It's been a lot of years, Searles, in the pros, and it is open season in some of those bigger markets on a team's offensive coordinator. Right? And Satterfield, people are really respectful, the media in Nebraska, I'll say that. That said, there's been questions, and you have social media. You've heard the fans' outcry at times, specifically the last two fourth quarters, last 2 minutes of the last two fourth quarters. What's your take on Set? Is the guy trying to make a gourmet meal with, and I'm not knocking the talent of the kids, it's just he's been dealing with an injured side of the football. Is that how you've looked at it?
Yeah, it's hard for me to call for the head of an offense.
I'm not asking that. I'm saying
the
upside of the system.
For sure. No, I'm talking about like the outside world calling for the head of Satterfield, right? It's hard for me to jump on that bandwagon when you really look at it from an objective person or like objective view. Like this dude lost his top 2 running backs in the exact same game. He's lost multiple offensive linemen, right? You lose Marcus Washington midpoint of the year. He really was hurt for all of camps. You didn't really have him either, right? You got Fedoni, who's a first-year player coming in. You start going in a rotating ring of quarterbacks because Sims wasn't the guy you thought he was when you got him here. Like, it's really hard for me to pin all of that on the offensive coordinator and say he's the issue, right? I just got done doing a podcast for the NFL where I really don't understand why they fired the Buffalo offensive coordinator. Like, I really don't understand why they fired him because it's like he wasn't throwing the interceptions, right? Like, he wasn't the one out there fumbling the ball. Like, they were ranked first in every category. But it comes down to eventually someone has to fall on the sword, and everyone's going to have to fall on the sword at one point. But for me, it was the injuries this year. It was the injuries. It was all those things. And Rule nailed it in his press conference. Why, when I'm trying to rebuild something from the ground up, would I take an entire phase of the ball and start from ground zero all over again?
Sure.
It just doesn't make sense.
So before we get you out of here, I want to get your thoughts on the offseason ahead for this Husker offense. Outside the quarterback position, I think we're all in agreement that Nebraska is likely going to go to the portal for a quarterback. Are there any other spots on the offense where you think Nebraska needs an instant influx of talent via the portal, or do you trust the young guys on that offense?
Wide receiver. We need a veteran wide receiver. I love the young guys that we have in Malachi Coleman and Dawes and some of the other guys, but we need to bring in a true number one big-time receiver to give our quarterback, whoever he is that we bring in, a chance, right? You can look across the league, even the young quarterbacks in the league that come in, if they don't have a guy at receiver, it's really hard, right? It's why the Bears traded for DJ Moore to go get Justin Fields a guy. It's why CJ Stroud has Tank Dell, right? It's a proven fact that if you can have a number one wide receiver, it makes the quarterback's job easier. It's why Adrian Martinez, as a freshman, just found wherever Stanley Morgan was and threw him the football, right? It's why last year they had Palmer and Casey Thompson just threw him the football, right? When you have that security blanket, it helps. And then that also helps with the depth building and the way that those young receivers like grow and develop. So I think the receiving position is definitely the number 2 spot that we need to go get at least 1 or 2 guys out the portal on.
Jeremiah Searles with us. Searles, quick prediction.
I think Nebraska wins this game 13-10.
All right.
I think that's the kind of game that we're going to have.
Big Red by 3, says Papa Searles. Best to you and your family, Jeremiah. Have a great Thanksgiving, man.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Go Big Red.
I'm Tamron Hall. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious, farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, with more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties, classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Days are shorter and temps cooler, but the action is heating up in the great outdoors. Hi, I'm Jeff.
I'm Hershey. Whether it's camping, hunting, fishing, or just getting outside, we're here to help you each week.
Outdoor Nebraska every Saturday morning at 9:45 with us, the pros from Nebraska-Iowa Parks, only on KFOR.
It's easy to see the common signs of transmission trouble.
If your engine revs before it falls into gear. If it seems to switch gears for no reason. So watch for the signs. Certified transmission. The job done right at the right price.
This could be the start of a break-in.
Stop. This is Simply Safe.
Or the end of one.
Police are on their way.
Introducing the latest innovation in home security. 24/7 lifeguard protection, only from Simply Safe. Now, agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Hi, David Brooks here, inviting you to join me this Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for the Retire Smart Radio Show, where we'll provide you answers to your most pressing retirement questions and help you navigate these uncertain financial times. Don't just retire, retire smart. This Saturday morning, 11 a.m.
Smart Wealth LLC is a federally registered investment advisor under the Investment Advisors Act of 1940 and an affiliate of Retire Smart. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Information about Smart Wealth LLC can be found by visiting advisorinfo.sec.gov and searching by the advisor's name.
While the world around you is immersed in the sights and sounds of Christmas, Roper & Sons understands that for some of us, the holiday season can make the absence of a loved one especially difficult. Join us for a Blue Christmas service, a community gathering with music and words of hope on Sunday, December 17th at 4 p.m. at the Roper & Sons South Chapel, located at 40th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln. Roper & Sons, we can find comfort together.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
We say hi to Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald, at Evan Bland, OWH on Twitter to talk more Nebraska, Iowa. Evan, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for a few minutes. How you doing?
Hey, doing all right. You reminded me I got to pace myself this time of year, this time of week, man. A lot of good food going around. So, yeah, excited for the holiday.
Pacing oneself, it's a skill, isn't it? And Nebraska fans, they've paced themselves for a while. Evan, if you look back to those missed opportunities, chance to go bowling for Nebraska in 2019, a chance to get there this season as well. And can it happen Black Friday? Iowa's beatable. It's a winnable game. My take, not Scott Frost's to tick off Purdue, but it's going to be tough. And I love how this showdown kind of gets to the nitty gritty. Going to be a real test of wills. And what do you like about Nebraska moving in to this one perhaps last opportunity on Black Friday?
Well, I like their headspace still. I have not gotten the sense from any of the coaches or players that they're worn down or overly frustrated. I mean, of course they want to win, but it just feels like they continue to bounce back and prepare and do all the things that you need to do to be competitive in this game, even though the results haven't gone their way. I do think that's a really positive sign for where the culture is going under Matt Rule. But I want to and culture and all that. It's a great foundation, but I think in a game like this, it's a reminder that it can't be everything. Like you need some health. Nebraska doesn't necessarily have a lot of that. You need talent. You need guys to get better. And I think it's a reminder that Nebraska's on the front end of a lot of that stuff right now. And, it is. It's going to be a tough one with the way Iowa plays defense and plays games that, it really, I think what Iowa's good at directly goes up against what Nebraska's been good at and what they've needed to do to win games. And particularly, I think of the offensive side where, if you're Nebraska, the way that you score points or the way you have scored points is by busting a long one at some point. And that's something Iowa's been really good at stopping. So, I think the over-under, 27.5, it feels really high, as ridiculous as that sounds. It does. It feels like, the defense is going to have to do something for Nebraska to score or to set them up for field goals or whatever. I think it'll be a close game. I think they can win it, but it's an example of two teams at very different points in kind of figuring out who they are and how they go about winning games.
Evan Bland with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. And Evan, it's pretty clear how important this game is Friday for Nebraska to get a win, obviously making it to a bowl game. But I want to get your thoughts on the psyche element that Nebraska, if they beat Iowa. Do you think that could be more important than a bowl game? The fact that Nebraska with the win Friday, I mean, you look how Iowa wins football games and how they've won football games for years. They thrive in close games. They like to dirty things up. They like to win those ugly football games. They do it by waiting for you to make a mistake and capitalizing on that mistake, if you boil it down simply. And I want to get your thoughts on the psyche it could mean for this Husker football team if they could beat Iowa back-to-back seasons, especially with just how Iowa wins football games, almost the perfect foil to know how Nebraska has lost a lot of football games over the past 5 years or so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of something that Matt Rule said about Iowa on Monday about this idea that in a 7-6 game, in a 10-3 game, whatever, like they're comfortable in that. Their heart rate stays slow. They stay calm. They know what they're doing. They see, stay the course, see it through. And, Nebraska has stretches of doing that, but then they get away from it, right? With maybe an ill-timed pass call or a fumble or, an occasional blown assignment defensively. Like they're getting there, and you can see kind of what the blueprint is going to be. So Iowa's just so dang consistent with that all the time. And so if you can, as Nebraska in your last regular season game, kind of show some of those gains against a school that is already the Big Ten West champ, it's going to, maybe win 10 games this year, depending on how things go. That's absolutely a shot in the arm into the off season. And we saw firsthand what the value of that can be when they went to Iowa City and did it last year. I mean, that, even though their season was over, like that had tangible, benefit to those players. That was a relief. That was a cathartic moment in Iowa City where they finally got one of those monkeys off their back. So yeah, I think that's something that would be important. They would tell you that obviously going to a bowl game and having the practices and developing the next wave of guys is also key. But yeah, if you can turn what was a lengthy losing streak against Iowa into a winning streak and actually beat them in Lincoln for the first time since 2011, as crazy as that sounds, that's a great start. And in the big picture, that's what everybody's talked about all off season was, can this team get to a bowl game? Can it show some proof of concept moving forward? And this is, take 4 to get to that bowl game and see if they can do it. And maybe if you do it against Iowa, that could be the sweetest way to do it overall.
Evan Bland with us here, Hail Varsity Radio Roadshow here at the Single Barrel Thanksgiving Eve. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal. And Evan, let's spend a minute here on Nebraska. And we talked a little bit of big picture. We talked with Mike Babcock about it. I want to get your take on it as well. Have you seen progress this year with the Nebraska football program? And what is success for this Nebraska football program? Is it that bowl appearance? Or have you seen enough progress that says, all right, this has been a successful year?
Yes, I would say that I have seen enough. And I'll go back to the culture piece that we just discussed. Mm-hmm. I think that's where you start. Like, guys are clearly bought in, to use that cliche. Like, in past years when Nebraska's struggled, you can always kind of tell there's been discord at certain points. Guys speaking out, whether that's players or coaches, and there just hasn't been any of that. Like they bounce back, they go on to the next thing. They know what's expected of them. And, I think there's no bigger testament to where the program is than Ty Robinson deciding to come back. I mean, he's coming back for a 6th season under a staff that did not recruit him when he would likely be chosen in the NFL draft and he could start his professional career. He likes it here enough. He said that he sees enough stability, enough track record of development, that he's going to put another year of his career into this program. So I think that says a lot. I think we're going to see more of that as the transfer portal opens on December 4th. I don't anticipate seeing a lot of guys jumping into that thing. Now, you may see some of these 5th-year juniors decide to move on for various reasons. I think injury certainly could play a part, or graduation, the fact that guys have degrees in hand and maybe want to move on. But this it feels like a place where people know that they're going to get better. And I think that's the other thing. And Matt Rule touched on that this week too, saying that, the improvement is improvement. The film is the film. And even though the results haven't always been there amid a bunch of close losses, I think you can look at, especially defensively, you can go down the line and pick any level of the defense and say, this guy got better or that guy got better. The offensive line has not been an obvious problem the way that it has been in the past. Like, there's just a lot of individual cases of success. And, again, Nebraska's just a handful of points away from, being 7-5, 8-4. If things maybe had broken differently when the season's all said and done. So I think they recognize that. They recognize they can get better. And that makes Nebraska in a more stable place than it's been in a long time.
Evan, we have to get your thoughts on Chubba. Just what do you want to see from him on Friday? I guess, what is a successful day? We kind of laid it out with Mike Babcock that Iowa is one of the best defenses in the Big Ten this season. And that's a lot to ask for from Chubba, to ask to have a similar performance to what he did against Wisconsin. But that might be what he has to do if he wants to put his name into the running for winning that starting quarterback battle next year, should he choose to come back. So I want to get your thoughts on what a successful day for Chubba looks like on Friday against Iowa.
Well, I know he got Iowa's attention with his long touchdown run against Wisconsin. There were some players in Iowa City this week that were talking about that. And I think, kind of right along with us, like they maybe didn't expect that he could be that fleet of foot or that much of a threat as a scrambler. So I think Nebraska is going to need some of that. I mean, that's become pretty clear here going into game number 12, that the way Nebraska moves the ball is going to include a heavy dose of quarterback run. So I think you're going to lean on that some. Purdy, I think, made it pretty clear that Billy Kemp was his preferred target. So get him involved, get the senior involved in space with some short throws, let him make some plays and do some things. And then, do what you did too, and not turning the ball over, outside of that late interception in overtime to end the game. Purdy took care of the ball and played the field position game. And if you do that against Iowa, you have a chance. If you give it away and set up their offense with short fields and then they give it back to their defense, good luck. So I think really in a lot of ways, Purdy did just about everything that you could want from Nebraska's starting quarterback in their current state against Wisconsin. So do that again. I think it's going to be tough to bank on multiple long scoring plays the way they had against Wisconsin, but take care of the ball, run the ball, chew up some clock, and then just, let your defense duel Iowa's defense and see who comes out on top in what should be a rock fight.
Evan Bland with the World Herald and Evan Bland, OWH. Evan, best to you and your family for Thanksgiving. We'll see you on Friday. Thanks for a few minutes today.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thanks.